All right, it says I'm live. I don't know if I am. I won't know if I am until you tell me if I am. I need somebody to get on here and tell me if the audio and video are okay. Because I always hate the beginning of these shows. It's like every other show in the world. They know that the volume is there, the audio is there, and all that. I never know. I start off every show and I'm like, am I talking to myself? Am I muted? All right, everybody, welcome. This is the Bunker Nation show. My name is Michael Bunker. I'm going to be your host for the evening. I'm glad you could be here. Come on in and push in. Everybody get in here. Type into the comments section. Tell me where you're located. We got to do the box thing. And after we do the box thing, we're going to chat a little. It takes a little work. All right, we're back. So somebody get in here. Tell me whether the audio and video are okay. I will be straightforward, straight shooting with you from the very beginning. I have had a few drinks. Not a lot. With my body weight, nowhere close to immoderate. But I have had a few drinks, so it may affect my elocution just a little bit. Plus, my allergies have been horrible all day. I got my mask here. It's not for COVID. It is for, hello, Jennifer Bunker. It is for my allergies. We're in the peak cedar season. October is the worst. Goes from October to February. And I woke up this morning at 5 a.m. All right, Nancy, thank you. Pat, good to see you. So I woke up at 5 a.m. Today was a day off at the gym. I didn't have to go to the gym. Woke up at 5 a.m. because my allergies were so bad. And the only reason Mrs. Bunker isn't here right now is because she says I yell too much. So hello, Scott. Hello, Hava. Hello, everyone. Glad you're here. We're going to talk about some important stuff, and I've had a few drinks, so who knows? It could get exciting. My allergies are really bad. My eyes are a little bit red. Face is a little swollen. Hopefully, we're going to get through this cedar allergy season, and it won't be too bad. All right, everybody. Glad you're here. Everybody push in. Come on in here. Hit the like button. We're going to talk about some stuff. Logic, reason, and how to think, which is why you come here. For those of you who are new, I'm supposed to greet everybody. Hello, everybody. If you're new, my name is Michael Bunker. What I do is I'm an expert in survival preparedness, off-grid living, things like rolling cigars and doing stuff completely off the grid. I don't know. You guys can help me. What else am I an expert on? I'm also a expert teacher on things like logic and reason and how to think. And I do a lot of how to think videos, which is what we're going to do today. Thinking exercises. Some people say I yell. My wife says I yell too much, which is why she cannot watch the show. And I insult people and call them idiots and morons. And I do, but that's just the way it goes. I don't have any ill feelings or anything like that. All right, so everybody push in. We're going to sit around here. We're going to talk. If you have questions or comments, get your questions in early. Get your comments in early. The more topics that are available in the comment section, the better the show's going to be. I know a lot of you have tuned in because I talked about, going back 3 or 4 days ago, I talked about the fact that you could figure out who was lying about the impending election concerning who is going to cheat. Even if you don't know anything, even if you're an alien, even if you were a space person and you came in, or a time traveler, and you came in and sat in on things, maybe you have a cursory understanding of history. Maybe you have a cursory understanding of things that have happened in the past, but you don't have a dog in the fight. You're not voting Republican or Democrat. You're like me. You're like an outsider, and you step in and you have a limited information, and they tell you some stuff and you look at it. You could determine who's lying merely by examining the behavior of how people act. And that's what we're going to do first. It's not going to take that long unless you guys have a lot of questions. So in the meantime, if you have questions or comments or topics or things you want to talk about, put them in the comment section. right now while we're live. Type them in there. And then when I get done, we'll go to them and we'll have like a fruitful conversation. We can talk about anything. We can talk about politics. We can talk about jazz. We can talk about fruit. We can talk about food. We can talk about diet, gymnastics, whatever you guys want to talk about. I am also an expert on history. This is absolutely true, particularly Russian history and literature. That is absolutely true. I got a list here of stuff: homesteading, bartering, book marketing, survival planning, writing, survival, Russian literature, living off-grid cooking, etc. Weight loss. But okay, we're going to start off. I'm a outsider. Our premise is that it's what's actually true in the coming election. I don't have a dog in the fight. I'm not voting for either of the two major parties. And I am just watching it and commenting on logic and reason and teaching you how to think. So let's just say you're me and you zoom in here from another planet. You have some cursory understanding of the history of American politics and how things work generally, and you want to determine who's lying. So let me set all the posits out. The first posit is both major political parties believe the other side is cheating in the election. They are going to steal the election. But the way they're going to steal it is different. I want to lay this out, and I'm going to give you both arguments honestly from their own words. The Democrats believe that the Republicans are going to steal the election or could steal the election through a process of cheating that's called voter suppression. To boil that down, that means to keep people from voting who otherwise were legal and valid voters and who would have voted, but their votes are discounted or tossed out or somehow not recorded because of Republican machinations. The Republican argument to that is that is absolutely not true, that they are only trying to limit voting to legal voters. So they're trying to make sure, and they're using the elements of the law to make sure that everybody that votes is a legal, registered, valid voter. The Republicans believe that the Democrats will cheat. They will engage in voter fraud. However, the way in which they will engage in voter fraud is completely different than voter suppression. They believe it's the opposite, that Democrats historically and currently will engage in voter fraud by flooding the market, by creating voters or dead people voting, or people that are felons, or people that are not qualified to vote, or people that are not Americans, just getting as many people to vote as possible, even if they are not legitimately legal authorized voters. The Democrat response to that is completely and utterly not true, and that the only people they want to vote are legitimate voters, but they want as many legitimate voters to vote as possible, even people that traditionally do not vote. Both sides are accusing the other sides of engaging in voter fraud, and both sides are saying that it's possible that if they lose the election, it will be because the other side cheated. But keep in mind that the method of cheating is different. The Republicans believe that the Democrats will cheat by introducing voters who are not legitimate voters and by manipulating the vote count. In other words, people voting who are not real voters. The Democrats believe that the Republicans will cheat by not counting votes that are legitimate votes. In other words, they're completely the opposite machination of voting. All right, so what we can do is we can look at behavior as disinterested parties, and we can determine who's telling the truth. Which of these scenarios is more likely? All right. So what I want to do is first of all, I want to throw voting out the window. Let's look at other areas in which con games and fraud take place. For example, in a casino, if you were going to cheat in a casino, and we're going to look through a lot of different ways of this happening. The way that you cheat, in other words, if you intend on cheating and you believe your opponent is not cheating, the way that you cheat in a casino is a process that's called flooding the floor. In other words, you want to introduce as much disinformation as possible, as much data as possible. And let me tell you how that happens. The people who guard casinos, who guard gaming to keep cheating from happening, use things like video. They look eyeballs, pit bosses, people watching. They use registration, people that come into the hotel, people that register, people that swipe their card. In other words, they use a lot of data to make sure that the people that are playing the games are trying to play the games legitimately and they're not trying to violate the rules. The people who cheat or who intend on cheating want to overwhelm that system of security with as many variables as possible. It's called flooding the floor. So flooding the floor means whether you can watch this in movies like Oceans, all the Oceans 11, Oceans 12, Oceans 13 movies. And there's quite a few movies like that where you try to Thomas Crown Affair uses the same philosophy. It's called flooding the floor, which is you introduce so many people, so much information, so much work that it becomes overwhelming for anybody to know what's actually going on, and you're more liable to pull off your fraud. So if you can get thousands of people, and this also takes place in shows like Ozark and other shows, if you can get a ton of people to come in and to obscure video footage, to engage in disruptive behavior, deceptive behavior, all of these things, so that it's impossible to watch who all's playing, who all's taking place, then you can engage in fraud. That's when here's the scenario. That's when you know you're going to cheat and you know the other side does not cheat. So when you know you're going to cheat and you know the other side does not cheat, what you want to is introduce more variables. You want more people participating. You want to flood. So in Thomas Crown Affair, if you want to steal a painting, rather than being the only person in the theater or in the museum dressed in a certain way, what you want to do is introduce hundreds of people dressed the exact same way, so that it's impossible to follow everybody. And then you can steal the painting. That's what happened in the Thomas Crown Affair. All right. Let's take it from the other point of view. If you are not cheating and you think your opponent's going to cheat, what you always do in every situation, every security person understands this. This is one of the rules and the laws of that type of security, is you want to limit access. So if you're a casino security agent and you know there is a team of fraudulent thieves who are planning on targeting your casino, what you want to do is you want to limit access. You always limit access if you think the other side is going to cheat. You always increase access if you think you're going to cheat or if you know you're going to cheat. So what you want to do if you're a casino security is you want to make sure that you don't get overwhelmed. You want to make sure that you're watching all the tables, that everybody that comes in is going through the cashier's cage. You're getting IDs. You're knowing who's playing, whether or not they're in the book as far as somebody that counts cards, all that kind of stuff. And you want to be able to control it. If you get overwhelmed, you want to shut things down. You want to slow things down. You want to slow egress so that there's not too many people coming in, that you can maintain some type of security of the operation. So these are completely two different philosophies. If you know you're going to cheat, if you know you're going to engage in fraud, you always want to increase the number of variables. If you want to stop the other side from cheating, you always try to decrease the number of unknowns, the number of variables. That's not saying that it's not possible to cheat. For example, the house already has their win built in. It's built into the strategy. It's built into the rules, and it's built into the game. So I'm not making any commentary on the overall honesty of the system and how the system works. I'm saying if you know you're going to cheat, you engage in behavior of trying to massively increase the amount of unknowns. So you want people voting, you want busloads of people showing up, whether they're from this country or not, whether they have ID or not, whether they're from that district or that region or that precinct or not. You want dead people voting. You want people voting online. You want mail-in voting. You want every kind of voting you could possibly imagine, because by introducing all these variables, it's easier to cheat. That's pure logic. If you are afraid your opponent is going to cheat, you do what you can. You use the law to try to restrict those behaviors. That doesn't mean that you're cheating. It means you're trying to stop your opponent from cheating. If, for example, the Democrats believed that they were being completely and openly honest, but that the Republicans were merely trying to restrict participation, then what you would do is you would join the idea that everyone should have some type of voter ID, or that there ought to be some process to make sure that as many people as come to vote, all of them can be vetted. We know they're all legitimate voters, because you want as many people as possible to vote, but you also want them all to be cleared to vote and not be blocked. So you wouldn't engage in lawsuits that try to restrict the fast and legitimate monitoring of who's voting, right? You wouldn't do that unless you were planning on cheating. If you were a Republican and you absolutely believed that the other side was trying to cheat, but you also were trying to cheat, then you would behave differently. In other words, what you would do is you would try to restrict all voter drives. In other words, you wouldn't even engage in it yourself. You wouldn't be trying to register new voters. You would try to restrict all of it. And so that's not happening. And so if I was a complete outsider, and I am, if I was not a adherent of either political party, and I'm not, if I was just somebody who zoomed in here from Zork or some other planet or whatever, I don't know. I'm a fraud when it comes to geek cred. But if I was from some other planet, Spock, for example, and I zoomed in here and I had some knowledge. And so let me give you an example. We have two cases in recent history, where it's very likely the person who became president became that president because of activity of their political party. I'm not going to say cheating, although in at least one case, it was absolutely recognized universally as cheating. The 1960 election was a classic case of the Democrat Party flat out creating votes in at least two major regions, Chicago and in Texas, and those votes universally have been determined were inauthentic and the election was stolen. In other words, the rightful winner of that election was Richard Nixon, and the person who was declared the winner was John F. Kennedy. Nobody even argues that anymore. We're 40, 50 years down the road, and everybody knows that the daily operation in Chicago stole the election, and that LBJ did the same thing in Texas, and that gave the election to John F. Kennedy. This was an act of creating votes, a massive amount of votes that didn't exist. In other words, it wasn't a voter suppression operation. It was a voter creation operation. They actually had dead people. Everybody in Cook County voted, even if they were dead. Lyndon Baines Johnson was famous for creating dead voters in Texas. All right. That was 1960. In the year 2000s, the Republicans were the beneficiaries of a system that many people believe limited or improperly suppressed votes that were legitimate votes. And as such, the vote went to the Supreme Court, and the winner was announced as George Bush II, even though it had earlier already been declared that Al Gore was the winner. Many people believe, and probably with some legitimacy, that there were votes that were not counted in that election that were probably legitimate votes. It's not as clear-cut as the 1960 election, but we have two cases, one with the Democrats and one with the Republicans, where these two methods of voter machinations happened. The Democrats clearly stole an election in 1960 using the creation of votes that were not legitimate. And it's possible that the Republicans in 2000, we can't say for sure, won an election, even though they were engaged, some say, in voter suppression. So these things are historical. We know that they happen, and we know that they're happening today. So when it comes down to who is lying right now, if I had to zip in here as a disinterested party, I would say it's clear. It is logically without any argument, and not one legitimate argument can be made against it, that the Democrats intend to cheat. They plan on cheating. They may or may not be successful, but they intend to engage in voter fraud merely because of their actions, their behavior. I have no idea if the Republicans are engaged in any legitimate voter suppression. I don't know. I don't have a way of knowing. Their behavior indicates that they believe that the other side will cheat and that they are not cheating. The Democrats' behavior indicates that they know they're going to cheat and that the other side is not cheating. So we'll see how it goes. I'm just offering this as a legitimate thinking process because I don't care. I really legitimately don't care. It's all the same to me, because as a monarchist who doesn't believe, and an autocrat and an aristocrat supporter, I don't believe in this system that's taking place. Anyway, I don't support it, and I don't vote on either side. All right, so if you have a question in the comment, get on in here. I don't even know if I'm on the air. I seriously don't see any comments. I've either been so riveting, so intelligent, so absolutely overwhelming in my logic that nobody is commenting, or the technology is not working and I'm talking to myself. I probably have just done 24 minutes of talking to myself. So let's get in the comment section. Let's get talking. Let me hear what you think. If you have comments or questions, it doesn't have to be about this topic. It can be about anything you want to talk about. Like I said, I've had a couple of drinks, so not even enough to get buzzed. But I did want to be honest about that up front, so that you know I'm trying to mitigate my allergy reaction as well. So if you guys have questions and comments, get them in here. If not, it's going to be a very short night. We'll see how it goes. I've got a little bit of scotch. I'm on the air, so I am absolutely so riveting, that for that 15 or 20 minutes, nobody commented at all. Nobody's like, yeah, I think you're full of crap or whatever. That makes me feel good. It really does. Oh, Matt affirms my theory. I think my theory is unassailable. If Biden is elected, I predict that very little will happen. I think there will be people upset, and I honestly believe that there could be some repercussions. Nothing significant. If Biden is not elected, I think we're going to see some very, very serious interruptions systemically, and it could get much, much worse. But what I believe about what's going to happen was not interposed into my theory. The overall idea that that I just espoused about who's cheating, who's not cheating, is unassailable as far as I'm concerned. Logically unassailable. Just because I know enough about security, I've worked enough in security and those type of things and intelligence to know how people behave when they plan on cheating. What if there were a monarchy election, Biden family or Trump family? I get into trouble on that because I would prefer neither. But if those were the only options, I would definitely approve the Trump family more than the Biden family, merely because I believe that the Trump family is mainly beholden to themselves. They mainly are looking for their own power and their own approval, etc. I think that Trump is basically a narcissist. He wants to be liked. He wants to be loved. I think that Biden is an empty suit who is being manipulated by socialists and Marxists who are have much bigger plans than merely ruling and adulation. So if I was having to pick as far as a monarchy family, I would pick none of the above. But if I was forced with a gun to my head to pick between the Trumps and the Bidens, I would pick the Trumps. How is Danielle's family in California doing? I don't know. I don't really get that much information. I hope they're doing okay. I figure I would have heard if something was bad. So we'll see how that goes. If you guys have any questions or comments, anything you want to talk about, I just kind of pick what I'm going to talk about, and then anything goes. So whatever you guys want to talk about, if you want to talk about something completely different, that's fine. I'm here for you. I'm trying to do this to help you learn how to think. I would love to hear somebody who wants to refute my thesis. I believe my thesis is sound and bulletproof, completely bulletproof, only because, like I said, I know enough about security operations to know how you react when you believe you're being honest and the other side is cheating, or vice versa. It is completely obvious to me that the Republicans believe the Democrats will cheat and that they are being honest, and that the Democrats believe they will cheat and that the Republicans are being honest. That's completely inarguable to me from their behavior. Absolutely, Mars. Ivanka would make a much better looking princess for sure. You want to talk about lucid dreaming? I could probably talk a little bit about that, but you're right. Probably no one's interested. He may not know what a narcissist is. I think he is one, and I think my own thoughts about that. But have you seen the trailer for the film Songbird? It's about COVID-23. There's a COVID-23. I thought we were only on COVID-19. I have not seen the trailer for Songbird. I'm sorry. I'm upset knowing that there's a COVID-23. I did not know that. I thought for sure when they, on this show, I said when they named it COVID-19, which was discovered in 2019, that there had to be a COVID-20 and a COVID-21, but I didn't know there was already a COVID-23. What in the world? What's that all about? I hope not. I don't want no COVID 23. I don't want no more COVIDs at all. In fact, I got this, but it's mainly for my allergies. Hey, I want to know what y'all think about my shirt. And this is like one of those, they have those Asian shirts where they wear English words and they don't know what the word. I have no idea what this Japanese or Chinese, I don't even know what it is. But I got this at the thrift store. What do y'all think about my shirt? I like it. I have no idea. It could say Texans suck, and I wouldn't even know it. I would have it on. I have no idea what it says. All right, Chuck's here. Good to see you. Recommend the Complete Tales of B Company by Chris Porteau. Absolutely. By the way, that is a fantastic series. And I get people ask me all the time, when is some more Pennsylvania coming out? You can go read in the Pennsylvania World. There are 23 books and novels and stories that have been written in the Pennsylvania World. The best, I believe, were written by Chris Porteau, The Tales of B Company. So go to Amazon.com and look up The Tales of B Company. Absolutely wonderful. Ethan says my shirt looks dope, and I think that's good. And so I'm appreciating that. I also got a little veinage working here, and I was off. I didn't go to the gym today. A little veinage going on. All right. Personally, I think violence and riots will continue no matter who wins. I think that's possibly true. Let me just say, there's a less likelihood of violence and rioting if Biden wins. That doesn't mean it won't happen. I just mean I think there's going to be less of a likelihood of it. There's a much, and in fact, 100% likelihood of rioting and all that if Trump wins. I don't know who's going to win. At least I'm saying I don't know because I'm a time traveler and there are time cops. So this movie stars Demi Moore. The states have been under lockdown for over 200 weeks. When did this come out? Did they make it in 2020? When did they make this movie? I'm trying to get a movie made. I'm working with Hollywood trying to get a movie of Pennsylvania made, and we can't get anything done. And all of a sudden, Demi Moore's got a movie out that was made in 2020 after COVID. What in the world? Shirt is sweet. Thank you. It reminds me of Jack London's dog Buck. That's what I thought when I first saw it. I actually thought of Jack London. I really like this shirt. Amazon has a paperback. I assume that is of Tales of B Company. Warrior Grandma, hello. Salute. 2021. But when did they make the movie? When did they make it? I'm curious how this movie got made on COVID-23. If COVID-19 became into the public knowledge in February or March, my gosh, they had to have gotten moving really, really fast. All right, y'all, if you have questions or comments, anything you want to talk about, greetings, Mike Bravo. Good to see you, Nancy. Good to see you, everybody. Mars Ultor is here. Got all kinds of folks here. So you guys come on in, say hi. I'm having a little scotch. I want to take the time while I'm waiting for your comments. I'm always here for your comments and your questions. To tell you that you can go to YouTube. We are up to 1,887 subscribers as of today. I usually lose a couple on every show, but we gain more than we lose. And you can go to YouTube, find me, Michael Bunker, on YouTube, like the channel and subscribe and hit the little bell icon and make sure you get all the notifications, because when I go live, you'll be given an alert that says that I'm going live and you won't miss any of the show. I'm sorry if I keep freezing, Warrior Grandma. That may have something to do with Periscope. I don't know. And so go after the show's over. We're live. If it says live right here, then it's live. If it doesn't say that, then you're watching this in the future. You're a future person. You're a time traveler. You're watching this in the future, and you can go to YouTube after this show is over. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon, then go down into the comment section and tell me what you want me to do a show about. What would you like me to talk about? What reason and logic would you like me to deal with? Because the more comments, the more YouTube is going to recommend my show to more people. This needs to be the next Joe Rogan show. And the only one that can make that happen is you. They say once we get over 2,000 subscribers, that YouTube begins to recommend it to more people. But we're at 1,887, which means we need 113 more subscribers. And it's happening painfully slowly. And I don't want to go 4 or 5 months to hit 2,000. What we need to do is get the listeners, the readers, the people, who, the watchers who are you, to go out there and get more people watching the show. All right. Hey, Frank just got here. You want to go back and watch this one? It's really, really good. You guys missed the whole rant about how to understand and determine who is lying to you about voter fraud. What do you think of the ATF's recent rule changes regarding arm braces for pistols? I don't want to talk about it if I don't know anything about it. But since I absolutely disagree with the existence of the ATF, that even should be a body of law enforcement, then I'm going to go ahead and say I'm against it. Because I disagree with the existence of the ATF. The Second Amendment absolutely is inviolate. And therefore, there is no reason to have a tax collecting arm of the Treasury Department operating as law enforcement, trying to limit Second Amendment rights. So I don't even have to know anything about it to know that I'm against it. Scott says, I have a friend who works on movies in the Georgia market, and he's finally getting back to work. Hopefully the rest of the industry will open up and Pennsylvania will get back on track. I'm with you. We want Pennsylvania to get made. All right. Susan Day says, following you on Facebook, on Periscope, and now on YouTube. Thank you very much. We absolutely need as many people following on YouTube as possible, liking, subscribing, commenting. If everybody watching this right now went down and commented, not now while it's live, because that doesn't count, after it's over when it's on YouTube, that would help tremendously in YouTube algorithm determining who's going to get to watch stuff. All right. Glad you guys could be here. The challenge with recommending your channel is that you are the antithesis. That's right. People can't handle the truth. That's true. But here's the thing. I'm as good at or better at this than Joe Rogan is. And I like Joe Rogan. I think he does a great job. And I can carry a show for 2 or 3 hours, no problem. I could also do guests if that's what's required, although I don't particularly like the idea. But this show would absolutely be a blockbuster show for most people. And so hopefully at some point, people are going to start watching it and they're going to understand how good it is. Thank you, Susan. I appreciate your kind words. And believe me, most people don't think when they meet or come across a strong person, they think they don't need encouragement. That's not true. Although I am a strong person, I absolutely love encouragement and I appreciate it. And I accept it. So anytime, this is allergies. This is not COVID-23. Who is Joe Rogan? Is he a writer? I'm not going to answer you. Go look it up. Go Google it. Joe Rogan is only the most popular podcaster and interviewer in the world. Okay, we can do a lucid dreaming show. I'm all for lucid dreaming. In fact, I engage in lucid dreaming on some occasion. So remind me, Ethan, send me a private message to do a show about that. How do I share this? There's many ways you can do it. The main thing you want to do if you're on YouTube is when I'm done here, find this video and there's a share button underneath the video down in this corner right about here. There should be a share button that you can share it to Facebook, Twitter, wherever else you want to share it. Scott Glenn says, I may be the exception, but I think it would be interesting to see you interview again. I actually have a plan. I intend on interviewing Garrett Bradford first and some other people. And so that's something I want to do. Although my My inner man does not like the concept of interviewing other people, just because although I find people interesting person to person, in interviews, they just don't hold my interest that much. And I have enough things to say that I could carry a 2 or 3 hour show without having to worry about trying to do research about somebody else. Although, like I said, I'm interested enough in other people that there are people that I would like to interview. All right. Cindy Jensen's husband has stage 4 cancer. I know you know her, and she may not be coming into your live videos. That's why. Well, I will be praying for her husband. Sorry to hear that he has cancer, but I'll definitely be praying for him. Everybody else, join in prayer for Cindy Jensen's husband who has cancer. All right, y'all. Looks like that's going to be about it. I appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, we're always looking for your participation in the show. We thank you for it. And by the way, you can always go to michaelbunker.com. You can find different ways to help the show if you want to donate or whatever. But we appreciate you watching the show. Lord willing, I'll be back tomorrow. If not tomorrow, then maybe the next day. As always, I will see you when I see you, but hopefully that'll be soon. And I'll talk to you then.